Okay, so today is August 15th. The packing has begun. They are remodeling our building, and we have to pack everything up out of our cabinets. That's still being worked on. So far I've gotten this cabinet, with the exception of the silverware drawer. These cabinets here aren't cleared out, and that's all the stuff that's sitting here in these bins. Still need to get more boxes and bins, because we've got to pack up pretty much the entire house, or the entire apartment, however, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, but the progress has started at least. We've got 2 weeks, I think, until they're supposed to start on our apartments. They were supposed to start on the lower apartments, the ones on the lower floor, today, but they've postponed it a week. But we're hoping they'll give us an extra week to get stuff packed up, because we've got to move everything. This is our fridge. We bought it, so we've got to move this out of the way. Everything's got to be moved to the center of the room, including the dog cage, the couches. TV's got to come down off the wall. Everything has to come down off the walls. Our decorations up on the ceiling have to come down. Everything has to be off of the walls, including the shelves. So we've got all that stuff down the hallway that I've got to take down too. Everything in here's got to come down. And yeah, my lights got to come down anyway, because they aren't working very well. But yeah, everything's got to come out of our closets. Right now our house is a disaster, because we're trying to do this and still live here at the same time, because, you know, we still have to live here during the hours they're not working on the apartment. How everything's supposed to be functional, we haven't figured out yet, but I've got to pull everything away from the walls. I've got to box all of this stuff up. Everything that's in there, everything that's on my shelving unit, the shelving unit that's in the laundry room, everything has to be boxed up. This is going to be fun, and that is said with a whole lot of sarcasm, but I've started it. So, like I said, haven't gotten far. I was starting with the kitchen, because these are bins that we don't necessarily, or all cabinets that I don't necessarily get into every day. My little Tupperware, that's from that cabinet over there, so that one's cleaned out, but that drawer's not yet. I still got to do all the upper cabinets. There's nothing in these cabinets because they still haven't fixed them. Oh look, I found my bucket. I've been looking for that. Apparently our sink is still leaking. But yeah, that is still the same way it was when they were supposed to have fixed it. Yeah, we've been waiting well over a year for that to be fixed, and it still looks like that. Our cabinets are crumbling. You know, they're just gross. They're just gross. So those cabinets have been useless since we moved in, because they've had a water leak that they didn't fix, and like I said, you can see the damage it's done. You can see kind of the bottom of it in there. And this was like the third layer on top of the original base cabinets, and this is how they left it after they realized how bad the cabinets were. Yeah. You can see this was the ledge where the bottom of the cabinet is. And you can see how nasty that is. So yeah. Yeah. I've been complaining about this too. And because of underneath the cabinets, we can't get rid of the damn food flies. But our cabinets and countertops are pulled away. I can actually stick my finger into the crack that's there. So hopefully this will be all nice and new by the time they're done. Like I said, got all of that I've got to clean out. All of this I just washed. So these I pulled out of the cabinet, and they've been in there a while, so I'm going to go through them and make sure they're still good. If they're not, then they're going to get emptied, and the lids will go in the trash, and the jars will be washed. But I've got a couple dishes in the sink. But it's crazy. It's crazy, because we have not figured out how in the hell we're going to have a functional apartment. Because they're supposed to be working here from 8 o'clock in the morning, between 9 o'clock in the morning, let me correct myself, 8 or 9 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening. As far as we know, Monday through Friday. From 5 p.m. to 8 a.m., we're supposed to still be able to use our apartment. How are we going to manage that with everything packed up and moved to the centers of each room, which there really isn't the room to do that. At least not with our stuff. Mind you, I am going to be going through a lot of this stuff to see if it's expired and can be thrown away, but at the same time, There's still so much to do. But it's begun. We're going to get more bins and boxes tomorrow. We're going to get some more stuff packed up, figure out how the hell we're going to organize all this crap so that it's still something we can get to when we need it. But yeah, it's crazy. And like I said, I've got diapers on the table that the baby doesn't use because she's had a reaction to them, so I'm going to find somebody for those. Somebody who wants those. I've got my sewing machine still out here because I was working on a quilt for one of my stepchildren. So that's been put on hold right now, and the fabric has all been moved into the laundry room, which, again, I have to pack that room up too, so I don't know what the heck I was thinking. But it's just crazy. Crazy. And these beds, we borrowed these from a family member of the big guys, and they didn't have lids. So these ones, or he couldn't find the lids. So these ones don't have any lids on them, which is why I used them for these things, because if we need something out of them, it's a little bit easier to get to them. And if they get drywall dust or whatever else on them, it's easier to wipe off. Though my plastic containers, I may need to put in something else. I haven't gotten that far yet, but yeah. We're supposed to be getting pretty much a brand new apartment, so I guess we'll see how well it goes. I'm planning on recording every day before and after so that I can keep track of what work they've done and make sure that none of my stuff goes missing, because, you know, we're not allowed to be in here while they're working, which I think is bogus, but hey, not my call. Not my call at all, but yeah, so the apartment's a mess. This part of the apartment's always darker because we don't have a light. But supposedly, they're going to be putting a light in this room. We'll see if it actually happens. Like I said, they've told us one thing, and yeah, we're kind of at the point where we just don't care what they say because we don't think any of it's true. So, I shouldn't say that. We're taking it with a grain of salt. How about that? That's a nicer way of putting it. But how in the world is all of our stuff going to be functional and be packed up at the same time? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll hit you up on the next update. Like I said, today is the 15th. They're not supposed to be coming into this apartment for 2 weeks yet still to start working on it. But it's going to be interesting. It is definitely going to be interesting. And I'll bring you through as I'm packing stuff up and going through stuff and all that fun jazz. So, because there's a lot of things. My plan is to be completely brutal and declutter as much as I can that we're not using on any kind of regular basis, or that I don't think I will use on a regular basis. I say it that way because there are some things that I only use every once in a while, like my turkey fryer. Okay, I don't use that, but usually around Thanksgiving, because that's how the big guy likes his turkey. He likes it deep fried, and it's good, and it's juicy, and it takes like 3 hours max to cook. You know, if that, I think is what it is, but it's been a minute, so. But, you know, my Instapots, I use them fairly often. This, which is dusty and dirty and needs to be washed down, which will have to be done again after everything is done, so I'm not stressing over it at the moment. But that we don't use as often. We use it once in a while. But, like, I've got a little Keurig down there that we'll probably be using to have coffee, because, you know, my big coffee pot over here, which we got from Amazon as a 45-cup coffee pot, I don't know if we're going to be able to have a spot to plug that in. So we may have to use the little Keurig, which we've got a little thing that goes in it that I can use my own coffee ground, so I'm not completely stressing over that. But I also have an espresso machine down there, which is also dirty and covered in dust. So, but still, my microwave. It's got to be somewhere. Luckily, this shelving unit is on wheels, so I can unplug the power strip behind it, because that's what everything that's on here is plugged into, is that power strip, and it's zip tied to the actual back of the shelf, and then it's plugged into an outlet down behind the little pool I bought for the baby, down there on the floor next to the dog cage. Hiya, Doge. Hiya, Doge. Hi, Missy. Hi, guys. These guys like to, oh, I shouldn't say these guys. This one likes to bite on the cage, don't ya? Yeah, you're the one who keeps bending it, don't ya? Yeah, as you can see, they've got plenty of room in there. They've got too much room because they're still having, little Missy's still having potty accidents. But at this point, I don't know if I feel comfortable putting them both in the smaller cage, just because that one's got some damage to it too, and these guys have just, like, I think Athos actually tore that one apart, and we zip tied it to try to make it stay together, but we need a new cage. But at the same time, neither one of these two behave well if they're in a cage by themselves. Do ya? No. Athos found his way through the front of the cage, because honestly, this one used to be his, or he had one the same size, and he actually put a big hole in this, and I come out of the bedroom one day and he is walking around the house wearing the cage as an outfit, I guess is the best way that I can think to describe it. He had kicked the bottom tray out, so he had his paws through the bottom bars underneath, and was walking around knocking the whole cage on the floor as he walked around, because he's just a weirdo. And this one, she likes to bark whenever she sees people, don't ya? You do, huh? So when she was in a cage by herself, and again, it was about a cage this size, and I come out one day and she's gotten a hole in the top of it and is standing with her head above the cage, looking around. So we had to take her cage down, and the only way they behave decently in the cage is if they are not separated. And it looks like somebody's had... Nope, I think that's her tail. I was going to say, somebody had an accident in there. Oh, goodness gracious, I just got you all out and took you out. But no, that's her tail. So yeah, we've got to figure out, the dogs are still supposed to be here. The cats are still supposed to be here. So we're trying to figure out how in the hell we're going to make all of this work around them redoing our apartment. So yeah, I've got to take all of my pots down off the top shelf, which are my canning pots. Like, this is my noodle pot. It's what I use when I make any kind of noodles, because it's a nice deep, and it's got a colander built into it. Got an extra colander there that came with one of my canning pots, like that one up there. But it had rusted, so I ended up having to throw that one away. And so I've got plenty of them. I've got a couple more up on this side too. And there's my big pot that I use when I make soups and stuff. If I need a really, really big pot, then I go for that one. But those are canning pots too, and stock pots. So, and then we've got different little things up there that we don't use necessarily on a daily. Like my big pressure canner is on this top shelf here. I got one on each side because I do have two of them. In between are all the notebooks that we've got with all of our movies in them. I shouldn't even say they're all of our movies, but there are movies in all of those binders. I think each binder has 60 movies in it, and I've got a list of which binder they're in and whatnot, so I can find what I need. But, like, all of this stuff is going to have to be done something with, because even if they've got to move the shelf, there are things that will fall off. But I can simply unplug this power strip, this power bar, whatever you want to call it, and pull this whole entire unit with everything on it out, because we do it every so often to get the floor underneath of it cleaned. Because this is the bin right now that I've got all the stuff that would be underneath the sink was stuffed in here so that I could get to it, and it's messy and dirty right now too, because pretty much everything is in here with us moving crap around constantly and trying to find places for things. So this has got cleaners and soaps and stuff and whatnot. So this was all the stuff that would have been underneath our sink. So that's there. And there's a cat box underneath there too. So because of the cats, when I do the cat boxes, I always sweep and mop underneath there too, because it's gross. But yeah, just it's just crazy. It is just crazy. But it's going to be a new apartment. I'm trying to remember it. It's supposed to last about 2 weeks. We'll see if it actually happens to only take that long, because I just don't see how. But supposedly we're supposed to be getting all new flooring, all new kitchen cabinets. They're supposedly putting dishwasher in here, which would be awesome because we don't have one. Some of the units have them, some of them don't. I think when they originally built the apartments, they all had them, and as they've gone out or stopped working, they've just removed them instead of putting new ones in. Because that's what that big ass hole was supposed to be there, was originally a dishwasher. So hopefully we're supposed to be getting all new appliances. Again, this is what we're told. They're supposed to be remodeling the whole entire apartment, gutting it from what we were told, but again, we'll see what they actually do and don't do. So it'll be interesting. But like, I've got all the stuff on top of the fridge that we own. Their little itty bitty fridge, I can see over the top of, I think it stops like this high, and it's in our laundry room. But this is ours. We got this ourselves. We actually got it through Aaron's, which is a rent-to-own place. So I think we've got a couple of months left still to pay on it. But it is ours. It is not the complex's. So, and I'm going to need to box all of this stuff up and try to figure out how I'm going to keep the ones that have food in it marked so that we know which ones, so we don't have a bin full of things that have gone bad and nobody realizes it. But it is just like, there are so many things. Like, you know, my new mixer, which I got for Christmas. That was my Christmas present, basically, from everybody here at the household. That was my Christmas present, along with the SodaStream machine. Which we all use, so I don't complain. It's nice. Can make our own sodas anytime we want to, because we're soda drinkers, even though it's probably not the best for us. Those are the little CO2 packets that come with it. And then I've got my Ninja there, but like all of this stuff on the counter is used fairly regularly, so I've got to make sure it stays somewhere. I have a feeling we're going to be eating a lot of these during those 2 weeks. So, I mean, it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare. My anxiety and stress is through the roof. Like I said, all of these cabinets I still have to empty, which I'm taking this as a good thing, because I'm going to do, as I'm putting stuff back, I'm going to do a nice big deep clean. And like I said, I'm going to declutter and get rid of stuff that we don't need and or don't use. But in the meantime, I still have to have some place to put it. And so those cabinets need to be cleaned out. There is nothing in any of these 3 bottom ones. There is stuff in that drawer that's kind of like our junk drawer. There's stuff in this drawer, and it's extra, like utensils and measuring spoons, that kind of thing. You know, bottle cleaners, anything like extra measuring cups, you know, that kind of thing. This is part for my mixer, my new mixer right there. And then this drawer still has my silverware in it, because right now we're still using it. And like I said, that cabinet's already emptied, so I emptied that. This one's empty. Our exhaust fan goes in through that cabinet, so we lose a good portion of it, which is funny because if you look closely, you can see it's not hooked. Sorry about that. I ran out of space. I had to go remove the art file, but it's no longer connected up there, so anytime you turn the fan on, it just like blows right into the kitchen, so it kind of defeats the purpose, but it's just kind of crazy. Like I said, we've got to empty everything out. The walls are disgusting. I don't know how many times I've scrubbed them, but I can't get them clean, which grosses me out every time. So, don't mind the dirty. I've been scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing, and it doesn't look like it. Hi, MJ. You want to say hi? Yeah. But, you know, we've got everything in here. I've got to get the TV down, which will be fun. The shelves down that everything is sitting on have to come down. You can see my wall bracket for my TV there, so this is going to be very interesting, because I honestly don't remember to put it up, because it's been up for a while. It's been up for over 2 years, so it's been a minute, so I'm going to have help getting it down. First of all, the screen itself just lifts up off the bracket, and it's got brackets that are attached to the back of it, and then I've got to take all of those out of the wall. So it should be interesting. It should be interesting. And yeah. And this has all got to come down. But our power station. But yeah, it's going to be a nightmare. But hopefully it'll be a nightmare that's worth it. I have not figured out how in the hell we're going to move this couch to a spot in the middle of the room with as big as it is, because it pretty much is in the middle of the room. But yeah, again, we've got to empty the closet out and everything else. And it has to be boxed up. And we've got just stuff thrown back there right now. This apartment is kind of disaster roll right now, with us trying to move everything around and figure out where we're putting stuff. And yeah, but everything out of there has to be emptied. Everything out of all of the closet has to be emptied. All of that has to come down. That's my Wi-Fi router and whatnot, but all of my signs on the walls, my hooks, all of that has to come down. The flags on the ceiling have to come down. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Everything has to come down off of the walls. But hey, I will get a chance to rearrange everything. So maybe it's time that I can put everything back. I'll take you along for that too, because it should be interesting. I'm gonna try and rearrange this because I get antsy when things get like this. Because right now this is driving me nuts, insane. I feel like I'm losing my mind. My anxiety is through the roof. I got heartburn, all kinds of crap, and this is just the start. So wish me luck. See you in the next one.